welcome to the Granite State Yarns podcast. My name is Lauren, and I'm coming to you from the great state of New Hampshire. You can find me on Instagram at Granite State Yarns, as well as on my website, www.granitestateyarns.com. I'm a knitter and a yarn dyer, and I am here today to talk to you about all of the knitting adventures that I have been having lately. So let's get into it, okay? So first, I think today we're going to talk about the works in progress that I have going, since I've been talking about them already. And I have, I think 2 pairs of socks. Let me just double check my notes. Yep, 2 pairs of socks. Okay, so first off, these are my Arethusa Falls socks that I am currently knitting for my husband. I have one done, and I have the second one in my bag here, my project bag. Put this down. Got my second one just about past the cuff. I've got a few rows in. I think I've done maybe a repeat, maybe 2 so far in the leg. So I've got the sock done and the cuff. Well on my way to getting this done pretty quickly. I think, once you get over that hump of getting the next sock cast on and at least going somewhere, should be really excited to get this done. So I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to repeat a whole ton. So if you're really interested in learning more about the Arethusa Falls pattern, you can look back at some of my past episodes. But this is a pattern that I designed with my husband in mind. And so I'm finally knitting him a pair of socks in this pattern. So they fit him great. Let me take them off the blocker here so you can take a look and just see how stretchy this particular pattern is. When you first look at the socks here, for a men's sock, they look like they're going to be pretty small. But there's actually a lot of ribbing built into this pattern, both in the front here, in the instep. You can see that there's this ribbing here that goes in between the pattern sections. And then even in the back of the sock, not on the foot we just knit in regular stockinette, but up here in the leg portion, you'll see that I have all of this ribbing put in. So what this does is this makes a sock that is really nice and stretchy and will kind of hug the contours of the wearer's leg. So this is the way my husband really likes his socks to fit. He likes them really snug. So he tried this on the other night and he's super happy with how they are fitting. So he is a size 8.5 men's, and I did 75 rows for the foot here. I don't remember now how many I did for the leg. I want to say there's 20 stitches in the cuff, and then I want to say that I probably did 60 or thereabouts in the leg portion here. I don't remember exactly what I did. I can count it, but it's okay. So yeah, so there we go. Like I said, hopefully I'll get these done maybe in the next week or so. He usually wears his hand knit socks to church on Sunday, so it would be really nice if I could get these done for him by Sunday, but that might be a little bit close because it is, today is today's Wednesday actually. Yeah, it's Wednesday, so there is plenty of time actually. I should be able to do that. It might be a little bit ambitious, but we'll see what I can do. I do have to say too, I have my yarn cake here in this yarn cozy that I got from Midwest Stitches, and I absolutely love this cozy. I've never used one before. This is my first time, and this thing is awesome. I just put it on now in starting the second sock, so I don't really have like a whole ton of mileage on it quite yet, but it is allowing me to do a center pull here, but it's going to theoretically keep the yarn from getting like completely wild towards the end. And it looks really cute. It's super soft. I was actually talking to Danielle about this, and I thought that maybe this was like legging material, and she agreed and said that yes, this is actually like that really soft, buttery legging material that's really popular right now. So it's really stretchy, just really soft. And like I said, I mean, look at that pattern. Isn't that cute with the lemons and the oranges? Or maybe they're all just oranges. I don't know. I've been calling these lemons, but looking at it, that looks like, whatever. It's citrus fruit. It doesn't matter, huh? it's just super fun and really cute. So I don't know, I'm really liking this. It's keeping the yarn from kind of like rolling around too when I pull out. Like I tend to have that problem, as I'm sure a lot of you do. If I keep it in the bag, sometimes it gets caught up in the zipper, and so that can be kind of frustrating. But if I take it out of the bag, then it's constantly falling off the couch, and then the cat gets to it and he's chasing, or running around with it, and there's yarn going everywhere and it's complete pandemonium. So this is helping a little bit with cutting down just a little bit of the pandemonium of my life. So I'm really happy with these. Danielle said that she's going to be buying some more fabric, and once she gets some time to sit down and do some more sewing, she's going to have more of these in her shop. So I'm definitely going to be buying some more of them. So that's really exciting. All right, so those are those socks. And then I also have a pair of DK weight socks that I started last week. This is in my leaf peepin colorway that I just released in my shop. And I thought that since it was my very first dyed DK yarn, that I would take a skein for myself and try knitting up a pair of socks. I have done like fingering held double DK socks before, and I've had some success with that, but I've never tried actual DK yarn. This is a 75% superwash merino blended with 25% nylon, so it's similar to my regular sock base, except in the DK weight. So this yarn is really soft, but nice and squishy, and a little bit bigger than a little bigger in diameter than your typical fingering weight sock. And so it makes a really fast knit. Where I usually would cast on 64 stitches, this one is 48 stitches. So you can imagine just with those quite a bit less stitches, that you can kind of get through these really quickly. So I would usually do 20 rows for the cuff. This one's only 15. I don't remember all of the details to it, but these knit up really fast, despite the fact that I had to knit, I think I knit the leg like 3 times. I forget now. I ran out of, I've lost count how many times, because I was kind of playing around with a pattern here on the front, and I kept not liking it, and I'd rip it out and try it again, and then still not quite working. So I think I have it to a place where I like it now, which is great. But even with the going back and forth, it just knit up so quickly. It was really, the yarn itself, I'm really happy with it. It wasn't splitting at all. It was really easy for me to just pull out my needles, rip back, put the live stitches back on the needles. I really didn't have any trouble with that whatsoever. And once I did get the pattern kind of established, it just went really quick. So I have started the second one, just a few rows in the cuff. One of my big suggestions for combating second sock syndrome, which for the uninitiated, is when you are knitting a pair of socks and you get the first sock done, but you kind of run out of steam and then either don't start the second sock or never quite get it finished. What helps me is as soon as I finish the first sock, I immediately cast on the second one. So that way I will at least have gotten over that first initial hill where it's really, really hard sometimes to just like, oh, because I don't know about you, I don't particularly love casting on. It can be a little bit fiddly. So if I just go through it while I have the momentum and the excitement of finishing up that first sock, then it's that much easier to get it done. And then when I want to go back to knit the second sock, at least I know I've already got a few rows in. So that's my little trick. It's not foolproof, but you can try. Yeah, so I've got a couple rows done here. I'm doing a just a knit one, purl one cuff here, but I'm knitting through the back loop of the knit stitches, so it's giving it a nice twisted rib here. My baby is crying. So it's giving a nice little twisted rib, which kind of makes it a little, I think it gives it maybe a little bit more snugness, and just it's a kind of a fun little switch up from the typical cuff. So I'll give you a better look at while I bounce my baby. Don't cry, little one. I'll give you a closer look at the stitching in the front here. And you can see I have some leaves up here. So I am basing this pattern off of a Stitch Dictionary here, the Japanese knitting stitch Bible. And there is a pattern in here that has these leaves that I took this from. And I just kind of adjusted a little bit. I have some pearl stitches over in the back here. Let me get that to focus. Some pearl stitches in the back here and in the background up here too. And my thought was, because the repeats for the leaf itself is so big, I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of wiggle room to kind of make sure that I would have the sock fit correctly and not worry about, having to stop partway through a leaf. So that's why the leaf stops here, but then there's all of this extra stitching up here. So the sock itself fits really well. I'm not sure that I'm completely in love with this particular pattern once it's on the foot though. Like, it really gets stretched out and like the leaves start to kind of lose their leafiness, I guess. It looks really pretty. I mean, I like the little eyelets here from the leaves, and so it really gives the sock some character, but I'm not sure that I'm completely super duper in love with this particular pattern on this sock. I don't know if it's because it's DK or if it's just not working for socks or whatever. So I'm going to continue to play with it before I do any more. We'll see what happens. I'm definitely going to make another sock the same way. It's fine. I'm going to give this to my daughter. She loves it. It's really not like problematic. It's just not perfect yet. So I'm going to continue to play around with this kind of motif and see what we come up with. But I thought with the leaf the leaf idea in the yarn, that it would be really fun to show some leaves in the pattern too. So these are really cool. Like I said, it goes really quick with the DK weight, and I should hopefully have no problem getting the second one done as well, because now I shouldn't have to rip back 20 billion times because I already have everything written out and done, and at least I know how to make a match here. Although I think what I'm going to do is, where like this leaf up here is starting on this side, I'm going to do the mirror image on the second sock. So yeah, so work in progress. Pretty cool. That's the life of designing knit patterns. It doesn't always work out perfectly the first time. And so that's why, knitting from a pattern is not a bad idea sometimes, because, the pattern designer's already gone through all of the trouble to troubleshoot and figure out what's working and what's not working. So, pattern designers do amazing stuff. And I'm just a newbie, brand new pattern designer here, and I've already learned so much in the couple patterns that I have a bunch of patterns in progress right now. But like I said, you do them and it kind of works, or it's not quite working, and you're just learning each step. I'm really, really happy with my Arethusa Falls pattern, and that's why that one is now for sale. So if anyone's interested in that was the last sock that I just did. If anyone's interested in that pattern is fantastic. If I do say so myself, I've knit quite a few socks in it, and I really love it. I love the way it fits. That one I'm super proud of. But I definitely want to, if I'm going to be selling patterns, I want them to be perfect, or as close to perfect as I can get them, because I want you to be happy with your patterns too. So that way you make socks that you love. So, all right, so those are my works in progress. I do have one finished object, which I am wearing right now. This is a shawl, which is also a pattern that I'm designing right now. I'll take it off so you can take a look. So this I knit in Mandy's Makings yarn. It's fingering weight sock yarn. I believe it's a 75%, 25% blend, superwash merino nylon. I'm not positive. I will double check that. But the main color is her Party in the Vineyard. And then I used a couple of minis from her Lucky Charms mini set. So I've got some eyelets and some baubles up here, and then some nice stripes. We have some garter stitch rows for things being really easy and quick. And then a little more stockinette down here to kind of showcase that fun speckly mini. And then another little eyelet row down at the end. And then I did a I'm drawing a blank. My kids are making noise too. And an I-cord bind off down here. So I am pretty happy with how this came out. I think the things that I'm going to do, I think a second version of this. This one came out, I think the length is great. I have another, I can't remember the name of it, crescent shaped shawl. And it's a little bit longer than this. And I find that when I wear it, like my preferred way to wear it is like this, and then I twist it around like here. And then you've got the nice little like tendrils down on the bottom here. But I find that the other one that I have, one moment, just had to talk to my son there for a minute. Sorry about, there might be a little bit of 3-year-old noise in the background. So anyway, as I was saying, I have another crescent shaped shawl that has a similar shape to this. And so yeah, it's a little bit long, and I find that when I wear it, it tends to kind of get in the way when I'm, doing dishes or, changing diapers or any of the other, normal things that I'm doing all day long. So I wanted this one to be a little bit shorter as far as the, the curling part on the bottom. And I think I have it at a good place. The issue that I'm having is if I'm going to write this up as a pattern, I only had like 4 grams of my main color left. And I was a little bit worried that was cutting it a little bit close, that if anybody tried to knit this pattern and maybe they ran out of yarn, if their gauge was just a little bit different from mine. So I think I'm going to adjust it a little bit more so that way there'll be more of the either, like I use 2 different minis here. So maybe you could use more minis or scraps or, even another 100-gram skein. So I kind of play around with the proportions a little bit, I think, for my second version of it. But this one for now is I'm still very happy with it. So I might keep this one maybe just a little bit. With that said, my daughter saw this and she loves it. So I have decided to give it to her. I mean, it's perfect color for actually she's going to be 11 in a couple days here. So I thought that maybe this would be perfect for her, and I'm going to make another one for myself, like I said, in a slightly adjusted version. And I don't know, I haven't picked out my yarn yet, but that is on the plan here. So I'm really happy so far. Again, gonna adjust a little bit more to make this perfect, but really nice to have a new shawl. So I'm borrowing it from my daughter for right now so I could show it off to all of you, but I really love it. I love these little eyelets and the little baubles. And I think it would make a really fun, like scrappy shawl too, where you could have just a nice, either a tonal or a solid like this. And then maybe grab some mini skeins that you have. It might be a really fun project to do with Advent minis or something like that. So work in progress, finished object that's also a work in progress. So that was really exciting to get that done this week. So that's that. Yeah, and that's my only finished object. So that's pretty much my knitting chit chat. I guess I have a few projects that I'm kind of thinking about casting on in the next few days, next couple weeks or so. One thing I've talked about a couple times is that I really have been wanting to cast on a sweater. I've knit a few sweaters for my kids. I've knit myself like a t-shirt sweater, but I really want to do a nice full cardigan for myself. And I've had the yarn for this for over a year now. I got it for Mother's Day last year. And I have it over here. This is in a bag from Mountain State Stitches. Same girl who did the yarn cozy that I love so much. This is the bag that I bought specifically for a sweater project in mind. And it is chock full of yarn, probably way more yarn than I'm going to need for a sweater, but it is all in here. And it is 2 skeins of the Lolo Did It Whole Lotta DK. So I've got 1 skein here, and it is, I think, 250 grams. Yeah, 250 grams. And then another one here, just in case, right? Because it would be terrible to run out of yarn. So I've got 2 big skeins here. This is in the colorway Fame. and I think it's going to be super, super fun. I have not yet decided on what pattern I'm going to do though. I've been looking at the Beekeeper cardigan by Marie Green. I don't own that pattern yet, but I thought that this color would look so nice in that particular cardigan. What is kind of keeping me from it is I have heard that a lot of people love that cardigan, but that it can get a little bit fussy with the bee placement in the sweater, that the pattern itself isn't like perfectly clear on where to put them. And I'm sure that it's something that I'm capable of being able to figure out, but I kind of also want everything just kind of set for me because I am still kind of a newbie sweater knitter, and I would hate to knit it and then have it be a little bit off. Like I don't know. I'm not sure quite yet if I want to go with that one and just like, because it is such a pretty sweater, or do I want something that is a little more like clear step by step. So I'm looking at a few other Marie Green patterns because I have the book. Let's see, I think it's I forget the name of it. I'll put it down below, but it's a collection of Marie Green's sweaters that you can knit in 2 weeks or less. I think this was the first, because I think she has a couple different versions of it. Like I know there's a shawl one, there might be 2 different sweater ones, or maybe it's just only one sweater. Anyway, I believe it's the first one that she has. And so I'm also looking at let's see, what's it called? The Offshore Eyelet cardigan, which was actually written specifically with the Whole Lotta DK yarn. So I might do that one. I don't know if I love that cardigan quite as much as I like the Beekeeper one though. I like the idea of how, I'll put a picture up, but I like the idea how the front of it is really flowy. I had a cardigan kind of similar to that, not that I knit, but that I had bought. And I liked the way that looked, but I'm also a little worried that it's going to look a little bit frumpy. I wear skirts and dresses, and I'm just, is that like kind of fussy front going to look okay with a skirt, or just, it probably will be fine. And maybe I'm overthinking it. So I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I'll do that one. Does anyone else have any suggestions for cardigans? Like I really think I want to do a cardigan because I want something that's going to be a little bit forgiving with, for one, I'm nursing my babies. Well, my one baby right now, but don't read into that. Like, but I'm a nursing mother. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm a nursing mother, and so I'd like something that's easy for me to be able to do that. Yeah, so I want that, but then I also, I'm afraid of making a sweater and have it be way too big or way too small. So I feel like with the cardigan, there's a little bit more give to that. Because, this is a fair amount of yarn that I have here, cost a fair amount of money, and I want to make sure that, I'm going to come up with a sweater that I'm really, really happy with. And I'm not too much of a pullover sweater wearer anyway. I don't know. Yeah, so does anyone have any suggestions for cardigan patterns, or really, anything that if you really, really like it, or you think it'll work with skirts and dresses really well. Like I did the Tanya sweater, and that was like a cropped sweater, and I did put a little bit of extra length to it, but it's still, even with the couple inches extra that I did, it's still rather cropped. And I really like the way that one looks with dresses. But so I was like, I'm not completely against the idea of doing a pullover. I don't know. I have to think about this. But I'm getting closer to coming up with a decision. Like I have my yarn in my bag, and look at this. As I'm looking down at it, look, the little snowflakes and the yarn, they kind of match. Ooh, I don't usually worry about matching my yarn to my bag, but when that happens, like that's a happy little accident, right? Woo. So anyway, yeah, so I have that yarn, and I think I'm going to pull out my Swift and cake it up. Yeah. Actually, I got a new Swift. Have I talked about this yet? Knit Picks had a really good sale. I think, when was it? Like about a month ago? Was it I don't remember if it was the summer sale or something. I don't know. But they had a really, really good sale, and I was able to get the Swift for, I don't remember if it was like 30% off or something like that. So that came in, and oh my goodness, what a difference. Like, I have been using, like, when I first got a Swift, I got like just one of the real like cheapo ones that you get on Amazon that are like plastic and metal, and I mean, they work, but they're not like the super nice wooden ones. And I mean, it changed my world to have a Swift instead of, having someone hold the yarn or put it on a doorknob or put it over my knees or over the chairs or whatever. That was always such a pain, knots and everything. So to get the Swift initially, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, whenever it was when I bought that one, it changed my life, revolutionized knitting for me. Like, this is wonderful. But I've really been wanting to get a nice wooden one, because the metal one, like the way that it holds on to my countertop, it always like kind of wiggles and then it wiggles off, and it drives me crazy. I'm always retightening it because it's not super high quality. I mean, it's fine, but it's not great. It's perfectly great if you're like a brand new knitter and you want to get something, but you're not quite sure that you want to invest the larger amount of money that it would be for the nicer wooden ones. Not that the Knit Picks one is really all that expensive, especially if you can get it on sale. But, I know what it feels like to, I mean, you're looking at the yarn, you're looking at the ball winder, you're looking at the Swift. It's a lot of money just to get yourself started. So that worked fine, but to get the really nice Knit Picks one, it's like such a difference. The way that it holds on to the countertop, it's so much more secure. So it's not wiggling around. It doesn't have like the older one that I had did have like a nice little like handle, so that way I could turn it to like re-skein something if it didn't go onto the ball winder very well, or for any other reason why I might need to put it back up on the Swift. And the Knit Picks one doesn't have that, but I don't know, it's still a good enough quality one that, I mean, I can just kind of hold on to like the arms or whatever if I really need to do it. See, I'm thinking out loud here. But I guess that's the only thing, is I wish it had something that I could use to kind of I don't know, is it rehanking? Like, usually you use a nitty knotty. Anyway, it's such a minor thing. Like, other than that, I'm very excited about the new Swift. It's just solid. It's like when you use something that's good quality, like, it just makes the whole experience a little bit more pleasant. And I mean, I think that's something to say about knitting, that you can use yarn that is really, really expensive and luxurious, and you just really enjoy the process. You're still coming out with a pair of socks or a shawl or a sweater or a hat or whatever it is that you're making. But it makes the experience of knitting sometimes so much nicer when you have a really nice yarn, like, versus something that's a little more woolier, or like, maybe, like, I don't particularly like knitting with cotton. The experience of knitting with nice yarn makes the hobby that much more fun. And it even comes down to using a nicer Swift. That just the few minutes that it takes to cake up your yarn is just made more enjoyable when you have the right tools. So there's a place, I think, for everybody at every part of, every phase of your knitting life, when you're brand new, or when you don't have a whole ton of extra money. These less expensive options, whether it be the less expensive yarn in the stores or the less expensive Swift or whatever, that's great, and that's there, and I've been there. I know what it's like. I still use that stuff. Like, I mean, Felici just came out on Knit Picks, and yeah, I have my own yarn, but I still bought some Felici yarn because there's something really nice about inexpensive, easy care, throw it in the washing machine yarn. That I love that yarn for my kids. Definitely bought that. But then there's also a place for having that sock yarn with the cashmere in it, or a silk blend or something like that. It's just fun to work with sometimes. So anyway, let's get into crazy territory. Do I have anything else to talk about? Oh, I have my Maple Roots Creative stitch markers that came in the mail. I heard on Instagram from Boston Jen that her friend opened up a shop on Etsy, Maple Roots Creative, and I went on there as soon as I found out, and she's actually kind of local to me, I think in Massachusetts, and I saw these jade markers and said, I have to have these. They are like each of them are a little bit different. They're all jade apparently, but just a little, like the color's a little bit different, and like there's marbling. I don't know if that's really the right term with jade, but they're all just a little bit, like look at this one here. It's got like little spots on it. It's this really pretty grayish green color, but then it's got like these coppery specks. I don't know if I'm getting that to, there we go, focus a little better. Oh, I really like that one. So anyway, she is brand new. I lucked out. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's really lucked out, but I got to be her very first sale. So that was really fun to do that. Because I remember what it felt like to open up my shop and have somebody finally just take the plunge and do it and buy it. And like, you really do appreciate that somebody, you know, wasn't afraid to give it a try. So I get to like share the love and be the first buyer for this really fun company. So she's got a whole bunch of different stitch markers in her shop. I think there was also like a ring in there last I looked. I don't know, you have to take a look because it's been a little while since she's been open now. I think it's been about a week. I also bought a stitch marker, which I didn't think to mention it. I showed it already, but didn't think to talk about it. This is a progress keeper that I got from her too. And I have it on my socks here that I was working on. Let's get this to, there it is. Really nice little like floral. And it's on one of the lever back earrings, which I've never tried this one before. Usually I use like the lobster claw ones. So it's kind of fun to try the earring back here, the lever back. So yeah. So I wish her a ton of luck. So far, I'm really impressed. The really nice cardstock here and really fun logo. So hopefully she will find a lot of success here. This happened to me last time. I get to like a half hour and then my phone there's like something that shows up and I can never read it because it's sideways. And by the time I'm like, is it still recording? What's going on? I think I'm still recording. I think what it did last time was it like split it into two separate videos. So anyway, I'll have to edit this, but so these jade stitch markers are rather substantial. Like you can hear them. I think that like there's something to them. They're not super heavy where it would be, you know, pulling on your yarn, but they're not you know, just these little wispy things either. So yeah. So I will link her shop down below. All right, I guess the last thing I can talk about here is, I'll talk about some of the new yarn that I have in my shop. But first I'm gonna grab a sip of tea. This is in my Crazy Sock Lady mug. I got this second sale. This was only $5 and it was well worth it. I've been drinking everything out of this lately. I can see my kitty cat. That's Maggie. Maggie is a very old kitty cat. Hey, Maggie. Oh, she's playing with her tail. This is actually surprising to see her because she's a super shy kitty cat and usually hides up in the upstairs. But every now and then she comes down. We get to see her. She's kind of shy. We have another cat, Nacho. He's only a year old. She's, I think, 15. Nacho's a year old and he is a lot bigger than her and a lot more energetic and is constantly chasing her around and terrorizing her. But she will not be bothered too much. She will hold her own. Right, Maggie cat? Yeah. Okay. So, Yeah, so this is a mini set that I just released in my shop, I think last week. This is, I'm calling Thanksgiving Dinner, and these colors are all inspired by various parts of our Thanksgiving dinners. So you can see like some cranberry sauce, and I was thinking like pumpkin pie, and see, I'm starting at like all the sweet stuff here. Pumpkin pie and whipped cream, maybe. This one reminds me of like corn, and here like the roasted turkey and green bean casserole, or any other, yummy thing that you might eat on Thanksgiving. But those are the ones that like have my heart for sure. This is showing up kind of red. It's a little more cranberry sauce colored in real life. It's kind of a shame. It's really kind of getting blown out here. But anyway, you can at least get the idea of it. It's something a little bit different. My friend Stephanie actually suggested doing a Thanksgiving mini set because you don't really see a whole lot of Thanksgiving stuff. It's like, we go from summer into fall, and then it becomes, all the different fall leaves and pumpkins and Halloween. And then it's like, boom, we're into Christmas. So there's not a whole lot of like Thanksgiving yarn. So I thought this would be kind of fun. So, this might be fun to put in, maybe a shawl, like I was saying, to put the minis in a shawl with stripes, or to do striped socks. Also the jelly roll blanket that seems to be really popular right now. I actually just bought the pattern for that, and I was kind of, I think I talked about that with my last podcast, that I'm kind of interested in starting one of those with my scraps. And I love getting these like mini sets to add to my scrappy blankets, whether it's the jelly roll blanket or the cozy memories blanket that I also have one of those going. And then I also have a crochet corner to corner blanket. So I've got all of these nice scrappy projects going on, and I thought this was really fun because it definitely, they all go together as a whole. They really look, they've got that Thanksgiving dinner look to them. And if I can order them a little bit better color wise, this, I think they all go together as their own group, but that they also are just fun to put in for scrappy things too. So, yeah. So I'm really excited about this one. And yeah, so this is available in my shop right now. I'll link down below. And I've got a couple other things in there too. So, if you're interested, you can go peruse the shop and see if there's anything that you like. I don't know if I have a whole lot of chit chat for today. We've had a lot of rain up here. It's dried off a little bit, but as everybody, it's kind of been the running joke that I've been attacked by every sort of mosquito and bug the last couple weeks. I did a unboxing yesterday and got just completely attacked by mosquitoes, like biting me on the forehead during my recording. Like, are you serious? Bugs, for real? So yeah, we are just like covered in mosquitoes, and it's awful. Like, my poor kids, they have not really been able to play outside a whole lot this summer because it's either raining, or when it's not raining, the mosquitoes are just attacking them. Like, we live on a swamp. I mean, it's not like, I shouldn't say we live on a swamp, but our yard abuts. It doesn't quite abut, but we're pretty darn close to like the town forest. And the town forest is basically on a swamp. So we do have tons of crazy wildlife down here, and certainly our backyard is pretty wet. It shouldn't be as wet as it is, though. I mean, we have a couple streams back there, but it is just like, it's just squishy down there. So my poor kids just have not really been able to enjoy their yard. My husband he has got a garden railroad out back. It's like a G-scale. I don't know if anybody knows any of this stuff, but they're like these G-scale trains. So like the engine itself is going to be about this big, and then, each of the cars about like that. So he's got this whole big layout out back, and I should do a tour sometime. Actually, I'll link. He does have a YouTube channel, so if you're interested in any of those things, you can check that out. But he goes out there, he works all week, and then he wants to have a little bit of a break and go run his trains and play with the kids and just have a nice relaxing afternoon, and then the mosquitoes are out and attacking him. So it's been kind of frustrating, but you know, I guess I can't complain too much. We were in a drought at the beginning of the year, actually the end of last summer, and then the beginning of this year we were in a drought, and we now are definitely not in a drought anymore. But hopefully it'll dry out a little bit more and my children can enjoy a little bit of summer before it starts getting cold again. Although I'm looking forward to fall, but it's always kind of sad because that means winter's coming, and I don't particularly enjoy winter the same way that I used to as a kid because I'm not, you know, building snowmen and sledding and skiing the way that I used to. Although I do at least try to take some couple afternoons and do some sledding with the kids. We've got a really big hill, so it can be a little wild. Although I did ruin one of their tubes a couple years back, and they always like to remind me of that, oh, Mom popped the tube. It's like, well, it was going real fast and I kind of couldn't stop, and then I kind of got into the woods and there's sticks out there and they popped the tube. So whatever, it doesn't matter. Santa Claus brought them some better inner tubes anyway for last Christmas, so they really can't complain anymore, right? Santa Claus took care of them. So all right, so anyway, I think that's going to be it for today. So thank you so much for watching and learning about what I've been working on. And again, I'm definitely looking for some sweater suggestions, so please maybe comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I will be back to talk with all of you in the next week or so when I can get back to my podcast. And I hope you all have a lovely week, and I will talk to you again soon. Okay, thank you so much. Goodbye.